Which brings us to our next topic, which is also Mount Rushmore related.
Yeah.
Bleacher Report's Mount Rushmore for all 30 NBA teams this century, including your Boston Celtics. As you take a look, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you can really argue that over the last quarter century, right?
Yes.
You open that up to NBA history, right? Then we have a real discussion.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Okay. Yes. All right. Well, let's start with this.
Sure.
Can you help me rank these 4 players? All right, in order.
Good, Dante. That's where you get
it. Rank them in order. Mm-hmm. You know, you got. When did Paul get drafted?
98.
8. Yeah. So he has 2 years that you got to dislodge.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But 13 years of pedigree here for us to go off of. How would you rank these 4 guys?
All right. So since
the 2000s. Since 2000.
Yeah. All right. Number 4. Number 4. I'm gonna put Kevin Garnett.
Wow.
People are gonna think I'm crazy.
But okay.
Let me just rank them.
Yeah.
Number 4
Go
is
ahead.
Kevin Garnett.
Go ahead.
Number 3 is Jaylen Brown.
Okay.
Number 2.
Yeah, this is where it gets interesting. This is where it gets interesting.
Number 2 is Jason Tatum.
Ooh.
Number 1's Paul Pierce. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I have some conflicting logic here, I think. But
talk to me.
All right. So I'm going Kevin Garnett. I'm going Kevin Garnett number 4 on the list. All right. Obviously, hugely important.
Yeah.
To the Celtics championship run and the success that they had, right?
Yep.
With the new big 3.
Yep.
He was only here 6 years.
Yep.
And that 1 year, super important. 1 NBA title
right.
in his 6 years.
Yep.
Was hurt.
Yep.
Wasn't himself.
Yep.
An NBA Hall of Famer.
Right.
A basketball Hall of Famer,
yep.
Excuse me. But Jaylen Brown, Finals MVP and has an NBA title.
Yeah.
Okay? So, and he's been here longer.
9 years
and he's
of work.
got more to go.
Yep.
And now I'm projecting.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay? So that's why I'm putting KG 4th. I'm putting Jaylen Brown 3rd. Now, when it comes to my next ranking with Jason Tatum, that's where it's like, well, wait a minute. You said that, like, okay. Jason Tatum was not a Finals MVP.
And Paul was.
Yeah. Paul was here, still a lot longer, still holds.
13 years in this experiment,
right.
but 15 years total of his career.
Right. A Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Tatum's not quite there yet.
Yeah.
Come back to me in 5 years.
Right. Well, yeah. Obviously, this would be year 9.
Yeah.
We assume that he's not going to
come
play
back to me in 5 years.
In year 9. So
right.
so 5 years.
Yeah, give him some time. So that's that. And again, people might think I'm crazy, but that's the logic, right? And I'm just going strictly like, all right, Kevin Garnett 1 title, Jaylen Brown 1 title, NBA Finals MVP, been here longer. Jason Tatum 1 NBA title, but not as long. Again. He just doesn't quite have the years yet.
Okay.
The numbers yet.
So back when Paul Pierce was playing, especially earlier on in those 2000s, I was a baby. So that was the early years of me watching basketball and being a fan of basketball. And, I actually got to watch this team play a lot because I was watching Dwayne Wade and I was watching Kobe, and those Celtics-Lakers matchups were always, fun, even back in the early 2000s. I know we talk about the later 2000s and how amazing those finals appearances against each other were, but the early 2000s had some great hoop as well. Paul, I actually just found this out today, though. Yesterday, Paul was the number 2 rated player in 2K2. We're on 2K26 that we're going into now, but in 2K2, he is the number 2 rated player at a 98 overall. I would have to argue that Jason Tatum has never reached the heights that Paul Pierce has reached. And I think, obviously when you're looking at MVP ranking and all this other stuff, Paul has never gotten to 4 or 6 in the MVP voting that Tatum's ever, that he's reached. But, I think we talk about longevity and peak versus peak. I think some people might argue that Paul had a higher peak than Jason. I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a terrible take. It's a decent take, I think. I mean, Paul Pierce, I think, was always a player, like even in the draft, right? Like, I mean, he was a 10th overall pick, overlooked a little bit in his career. And I think he was also overlooked a little bit because he played on some bad Celtics teams in those early 2000s, right?
Yeah.
But one hell of a player. And he and Antoine were the first sort of iteration of like, hey, like things, like the first successful like period of time for the Celtics since like Bird was walking through the door, right? And so that was exciting at the time, having lived that, and then going through some really bad years, and then obviously bringing KG and Ray Allen in, turn the tide. But Paul's still got more on his resume than Jason Tatum right now.
And to be honest, Tatum's had it pretty good here. You know what I mean, in Boston, compared to, not saying that that's a knock on Tatum, but it's an uplift of what Paul had to go through. Like all the coaching changes, you know what I mean, front office changes, all these things that he had to deal with from year to year, getting stabbed, you know what I mean? Like all the personal things that he had to deal with off the floor as well. Like, Tatum didn't have to deal with all of those things. And that's a credit to, to this Boston Celtics franchise and building up that, stability around Tatum. And he's had, 3 coaches at this point. He had Brad, he had Ime, he's had Joe. But those are all 3 great NBA head coaches, at least so far what, Joe has shown us. So, you got to give Paul some credit for being the stability when the Celtics were up and down throughout his entire career.
Yeah, I think, you can make the case, and I think we agree. Like, by the way, what's your order? Did you?
So, I'm flipping. I love JB.
Yeah.
I love JB. I got to take KG just because he set the tone for the foundation of what the Boston Celtics were going to be, because the 80s were great, 90s started to get real scary, 2000s were kind of scary, and then he walked in the door and a franchise that was looked at as a team that used to win became a team that is, we win again. Like, this is Celtics culture. So, like, he had to redefine Celtics culture. So I give him a little bit of an edge for coming in, buying in immediately, taking it under his wing. Like, they had something going.
Yeah.
But he was like, nah, we're going to take this to another level. You know what I'm saying? And that's tough to do because you see superstars change and leave all the time. And Kevin Durant goes to new places. He doesn't change cultures. You know what I'm saying? James Harden goes to new places. He doesn't change cultures. KD a champion. But, that kind of thing, when you can come in and have that kind of effect and take over a franchise that's known for winning and show them how to win again, you got to get some points in the book for that for me. And I get the longevity.
No. I agree. And I think, in terms of having an impact and changing the culture, no question about that. Kevin Garnett did.
Right.
They would not have won a title without Kevin Garnett.
Right.
No question. My argument was just that.
Yeah, the Finals MVP, it matters.
We're talking about the last quarter century.
Yeah.
Talking about a player who, again, like, I'm not taking that NBA Finals MVP away from Jaylen Brown and how important he was during that playoff run.
Yeah.
Right? And I think I'm guilty of this. We look back more fondly as the years go on.
Yes.
Right? And certain players, certain teams, right?
100%.
We sort of, brush aside the newer version, right? And just say, they didn't do it like this guy did back in the day. So I'm trying to avoid doing that.
100%. And I think with JB, I'm right there.
Yeah.
Like a good year this year, I'm like, okay.
Right, because we're talking about this guy like being the man this year, having the opportunity to do that.
I'm right there. And the same thing with JT and Paul. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Jason Tatum and Paul Pierce, I'm right there, too. Like, it's like Tatum needs just one more, you know what I mean? He finishes as a finalist as the MVP at some point in his career after this with the Boston Celtics. I'm like, yeah, Paul, thanks, man. But Tatum got the 2000s. That's his,
What if this were a top 5?
Top 5? Then I'm personally going straight to Rondo.
Yeah.
I'm going straight to Rondo, personally. I mean, and I can tell you, that's bias. I love Rondo. Rondo was one of my favorite players to grow up watching. He was definitely my favorite point guard to grow up watching. And, I think when you think about the Ray Allen scenario, it's like, okay, well, Ray left. He went to the Heat. That kind of tarnishes you as a Celtics all-timer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
By doing that, going out the way you did, that it just left a bad taste. And, we love Ray Allen. I would accept him, back. He can come to Boston and do whatever he wants. You know what I mean? He's a legend here for sure. But when we're talking about these minute differences, I'm going to give Rondo the edge there. And then I think another guy that people are probably going to throw to is like Al Horford. And like Al, I'm like, you left twice now. It looks like it's going to be like, you leave twice, bro. You can't be in there.
Yeah, I don't think Al Horford's in the conversation for me as much as I love Big Al.
Yeah.
Rondo would be that top 5 guy.
Yeah.
I also thought about Antoine Walker a little bit.
Me too.
Only because we talked with KG, and again, they didn't win a title. The furthest they got was Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals against the Nets, which featured one of the greatest, it was at the time the greatest comeback in any single playoff game in NBA history. But we talked with Kevin Garnett about changing the mood, in KG's case, the culture and the mentality and all that stuff. Well, Paul and Antoine together made this team fun and exciting and a winner in a lot of ways again, right? And after the disaster of Rick Pitino and Jim O'Brien takes over as head coach, and they end up like giving Celtics fans something to cheer about for the first time in a long time. The Walker Wiggle, right? Like, people love that. Paul and Antoine were supposed to be those guys for years to come. It didn't work out that way, and we're talking about the last quarter century too, right? So Antoine was drafted in the mid to late 90s, and it was only in Boston for a handful of years after, the turn of the century. So that's why Antoine's not on that list. And Rondo, I mean, he was... from a guy that was the fifth wheel, or maybe you call him the fourth wheel with Perk and that starting lineup, to a guy that was carrying them in some playoff games. Yeah. Like after that title year. Right. And that NBA Finals against the Lakers. Right. And then in another run against the Heat. Yeah. In the Eastern Conference Finals in 2012, carrying. Yeah. He turned out to be a lot more than I think people expected. Talk about a guy who was fun to watch. Man.
Yeah. What were the expectations like? Because you were here. You know what I'm saying? Like, what was the expectations like for Rondo coming in?
I don't think there were, so I think people might forget this too. Like, he was on the team the year before KG and Ray Allen.
Right, right? He was already there, because I remember KG there's that infamous story where he's like, who's that African point guard you got? Yeah. Keep that guy, you know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly. And so, I remember it was it's Rondo and Sebastian Telfair. Yeah. Right? And so those are the point guards.
Those were the guys.
All right, who's going to be the starting point guard? And so I just said Sebastian Telfair's name. The paper's like, oh my God.
Right.
So anyway, and then, Rondo, all of a sudden is the starting point guard with KG, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen. Right. And I think that was one of the big question marks going into the year. It's like, all right, you got this three. Right. And it's like, all right, and that's your starting point guard. Right. And then, he just became perfect for that group, a facilitator.
Especially in that era, because point guard was a point guard.
Yeah, he didn't need to shoot threes.
Right, exactly. Now it's just you got to go out there and score. The top 20 guys in the league who are point guards are really just scoring guards, and then you facilitate from time to time. Nah, back then, you had to have dudes who could really command a team, run an offense. It was like a quarterback back in the day. I think now that's kind of lost from basketball, where your point guard is like your quarterback. Nah, back then, in those years, for sure, your point guard was the quarterback of the team, coach on the floor.
And Danny was still trying to trade him.
Right.
It was Ray.
Danny trying to trade everybody. Danny was trying to trade everybody.
I'm pretty sure it was Rondo, Ray Allen, David West, Chris Paul. I think that was the deal that they were trying to get done at one point, if memory serves. But Rondo, if there was a top 5, Rondo, I think both of us agree with.
Yeah, I think, once again, if Rondo had a little bit longer of a runway here, if he just, I think he got to the point where he was good enough. Yeah. But the way people viewed him didn't match how good he knew he was. Yeah. And so obviously he ended up moving on here from Boston. But if he would have stayed here for longer, he could be in this top 4 conversation.
And there was
honestly.
that one playoff playoff year where, and I can't remember exactly what year it was, but it was the year where Rondo went off in Game 1 in a losing effort in Miami, and then had his arm like dislocated.
Yes.
During a playoff game, bent it back, and was playing like the rest of the way with like one arm. Like it was a really like wow moment. You know, obviously didn't produce a series win, but dude was gutsy.
I mean, I'm even looking at it now. Like the last couple of years, I think 11 and 12 it is right here. He finished top 10 in MVP votes for a guy who didn't look at a three-pointer at the time. You know, that's insane, especially with his height. Just heart. He just embodies what Boston Celtics culture is.
Absolutely.
And so that's why I always would, say if he had a little bit longer here, man, he's definitely Mount Rushmore top 4. You got to have that conversation.
Yeah, but I think we have both agreed, no argument on the Mount Rushmore. Maybe the ranking, that's up for debate. And I know I'm going to get killed for putting KG 4th on this list.
Yeah.
I'm going to get crushed.
You're going to hear something.
And I'm ready, baby. Bring it on. I feel like Travis right now with some of his
Right. You got to get the.
Oh, no, here it comes.
Right. They think we be out here just lying to them sometimes, but this is how we feel, man. This is how we feel.